It is a huge day. 9 Saturday footy, plenty to come, and we kick it off right now. We couldn't ask for better conditions as the third iteration of the NRLW gets underway, and it is Zahara Tamara with the kickoff. And it's the Dragons who'll have the first opportunity via Tiana Penitani, the centre last season, wearing the number 2 this year, and one of their new signings, Isabel Kelly, immediately getting involved.
It's good to see her get the hands on the ball nice and early, getting into the drill of the game as Elsie Albert takes it up through the middle. She's another big name signing for the Dragons.
You'll enjoy watching her throughout the course of this game. Elsie Albert, the PNG international, a weapon in the 13 as the Dragons head over the halfway line for the first time into Roosters territory.
And this is a good set of 6 here from the Dragons. They've made it already to their own attacking 40-metre line as they shift the ball through the middle. Veteran Steph Hancock has a great run and finds herself on the 20 tram line on the last tackle.
This the last Studden, short side, they keep it through the hands. Tungai does well to hold on to it, but that means she can't do much more with it. Is brought to ground on the 20, and that'll be the end of that.
Well, I think if that ball had gone to hand for Shakaya Tungai, there was some danger down that short side for the Roosters, but it was diffused well by the Tricolours, and they find themselves on the attack, 25 metres out from their own line. Vete
Walsh up against her former side. It's always fun when you play your old teammates, and what a way to do that for the number 1, the New Zealand international. She's also played Origin as Hannah Southwell makes it over the 40-metre line. A real threat as well. Southwell in the white headgear, and the first penalty of the game, the first penalty of the season, goes to the Roosters.
And that is a great run by Hannah Southwell. She was my player to watch in this competition this year. She is such a strong ball runner, and defensively, she is second to none. And that is a wonderful run up through the middle. Find a penalty. They'll get themselves straight into good ball off the back of this kick from Zahara Tamara.
You talk about quality players, Hannah Southwell. How about this? The youngest player to play as a goalkeeper in the A-League for Newcastle. She was just 15, and now she's playing in the NRLW. Talk about quality. And she's an incredible defender as well. She'll be one to watch as the Roosters with the first real attacking opportunity of the afternoon and the season, as Philomena Hanisi takes the ball over the 20-metre line, centre of the field. Maynard. Simona Taufa, formerly the captain. Now just wearing the number 8, Southwell goes herself, short of the line. Real test of the Dragons' defence in the early stages.
It certainly is, and they need to keep an eye on Nita
Maynard goes through. She'll score straight away. She caught the Dragons napping. We mentioned it was a test. Ruan Sims, they failed within the first few minutes.
Well, this is wonderful work by the Roosters. They find themselves in good ball straight away, and we're going to watch this on the Harvey Norman replay. Nita Maynard is so dangerous in this position. Her ruck identification is wonderful. She sees that first defender shoots up and out. Sam Bremner at fullback position, slid a little too early on her, and Nita Maynard, you cannot take your eyes off her close to the line. She is a little weapon.
She really is, just 150 centimetres tall. Alana Ferguson, down to you.
Thanks, Maddie. Yeah, keep an eye on Nita Maynard. Just every single time she heads into that dummy half roll, she always plays eyes up footy, and she quite often shapes to go one way and then she'll come back the next. But it is an absolutely beautiful day down here in Canberra. Now, the girls had plenty of energy in their warm-up, so I was expecting that start from them. A great first set from the Dragons, and then the Roosters just fired back with that energy again. Beautiful conditions. There's a little bit of a breeze behind the Roosters, but it won't affect the game too much. I think we'll see a nice, expansive game of footy and plenty of action.
Couldn't ask for better conditions for it, as Zahara Tamara will have the assignment of converting the first try, and she'll be reasonably pleased with where she has to take it from, assuming the kicking duties. And makes no mistake, 6 points to 0. The Kiwi Fern international with the first points of the 2020 NRLW season. on the back of her victory as well with the Bears. And now we see the Roosters, who, as we mentioned, have gone winless for the last year, will be starting from the front as that is a knock on. Tamara. It was a simple catch. I don't necessarily think the sun or wind is anything to do with that one. Just put the ball down.
No, it looks like she just lost sight of it a little bit there and went to catch it overhead, and it just got away from her at the last minute, and she'll be disappointed with that, especially, you know, we talk about this during our game all the time. We need a completed set after points. You need to settle into your game. Now the Dragons find themselves in good ball position, and they will attack this line. They've got a lot of strike power out wide.
One of the most exciting things coming into this season was who the Dragons had recruited in the off-season. As we get underway early, as one of those new recruits, Kelly, has the ball, hands free. Comes to Penatani. She's mauled to the ground by 3 Roosters defenders. Now the test for the Tricolours. What can they offer after points? Bent meets Southwell, and that shoulder, as we talked about, you're not going to miss it. Studded. Still going crossfield. Tungai pulled down, and she loses the ball in the process, and the Roosters rally around. Yasmin Meeks.
Well, you can see how much that meant to the Roosters. They knew they had to defend their own error off that kickoff, and they did so beautifully. The Dragons here, if that ball, if Shaq Tungai passes that out wide, they had a 2-on-1 on that edge, and there was some trouble there for the Roosters, but diffused beautifully by the centre, shot up and in, forced the error. Now the Roosters will work their way out of yardage, see if they can get a good kick on the end of it, settle into their game, and then just muscle up in defence.
A reminder for those who may not have seen NRLW football, 30-minute halves. Not the usual 30-minute halves, and 40-30s rather than 40-20s are in play. So if they are stuck down this end, the Roosters, keep an eye out for a 40-30 as the Roosters. That's a strong run by Vanessa Foliaki. Slow to play the ball. Tauffa to Southwell. Southwell's met by 3 Roosters defenders.
Foliaki's picked up a bit of an injury in that tackle there, Matt. We'll get Alana to keep an eye on it as the game progresses.
Tauffa. This time Tamara again drops the ball. 2-2. Zahara Tamara allowed to play on. Kezi Apps has the footy, and she'll go to ground on the 30. Twice in a row were runs.
Well, that again is a disappointing mistake there from Zahara. She'll be wanting to fix that up. A lot of strong defence through the middle here required from the Tricolours.
Veteran Hancock to her feet. Studded. Shortson. Apps is met hard in a strong shot. Tauffa getting a bit of that frustration out via defence. Studded. Now Albert, and so much strength in the legs of Elsie Albert. Pulled down 2 metres short of the line. The first real chance for the Dragons. Bremner, cut out pass, no one in front of her. Tiana Penatani will score a reasonably simple try. The Dragons hit back within a matter of moments.
Well, off the back of errors, the Dragons find themselves over the line. Just the Roosters got caught short on their right edge. In the Harvey Norman replay, we see here the strength of Elsie Albert. Speaking about her coming into this game, she is a weapon, and we can see what she brings. But this pass by Bremner, great vision. I don't know why the Roosters shot up there so quickly on the edge. Shanice Parker tried to jam right in. It's like she forgot, didn't recognise that her winger was outside of her, and Penatani, she does not make a mistake that close to the line.
She played in the centres last season. This is her first game on the wing, Tiana Penatani, and what a perfect way to start her 2020 season out wide. Sure, there was no one in front of her, but she still had to finish, and she did it beautifully. Alana.
Yeah, that was a great finish by Penatani. There's a little bit of a difference between the two sides at the moment, just with their on-ground communication. We can see the replay here. Just that space opens up so well. Great vision from Sammy Bremner to get the footy out there. But Rue, you spoke about you're not sure why Shanice Parker came in. It didn't seem to me, being down here, that there was much communication in defence. So maybe that's something that they're speaking about now, and just committing to the same defensive decisions as a team.
She'll be disappointed with that one, won't she, Alana? And she is a very strong defender on that edge, but that time she just got caught short, and the Dragons, they'll make you pay.
So the conversion, Shaq Tungai, who was the winger last year, wearing the number 6. Has pushed it out wide. Score remains 6 points to 4. Tiana Penatani, she debuted for Australia and New South Wales last year, one of the emerging stars of NRLW as the Roosters get us underway again, and it'll bounce into touch, an awful bounce for the Dragons, and the Roosters will benefit. I don't know if it was intentional, Ruan, but the result, nevertheless, a good one.
Well, it could have been intentional because the last couple of kickoffs that we've seen from the Roosters, they have been shooting down this edge and close to the line as well, and Penatani just missed the bounce there, couldn't get onto it as quickly as she would have liked to, but now, haven't the tables turned? The Roosters now find themselves in good ball position again. The last time they were in this position, they scored a try. So the Dragons will need to shore up that middle and get their line speed working, make sure the comms are up.
Here we go again. Zahara Tamara via Batil Vete Walsh, who has space. The ankle tap means she's brought down just short. She was away. Vete Walsh, desperate defence. The Roosters pressing as she's met by a wall of red and white defenders. Tamara, now Taufa, straightens and again is brought down by 3 Dragons defenders. Steph Hancock, the veteran, over the top. Out of dummy half.
Well, there you go.
Taufa brought down, loses the footy, and the Dragons will escape.
Well, the Dragons learned from the last foray from the Roosters down here. They got up in numbers through the middle, put some big hits on the big bodies running up that middle third of the field.
So despite the conditions, there have been a couple of errors both sides, but it's been entertaining first 10 minutes of the game, as the Dragons will have to do the heavy lifting. This is Jamie Chapman, new signing for the Dragons. The young winger coming in for a run. Now Bremner, straight out of dummy half. That experience from one of the most decorated players in the women's game. Plenty of pressure and excitement with her, and Elsie Albert again, straight through it. You do not want to be in front of her, let alone just one of the smallest players on the field, Nita Maynard.
Well, it was a great run, but it was a messy play the ball and a messy pass on the end of it. I'm not sure whether that was forward or not, but as we play on, the Roosters now on their own 20, working themselves into their yardage set. They just need to settle down a little bit, both teams. They're playing quite at a frantic pace at the moment.
So here's Charlotte Caslick playing the ball. We're 10 minutes in. We haven't seen a lot of the Australian Rugby 7 superstar. Huge responsibility being thrown straight into the number 6 Caslick, and she's just easing herself into the game as Zahara Tamara passes it on to Anisi, who's pulled down just short of the halfway line. Go blind. Vete Walsh again through. Gee, she looks slippery. Apps desperate tackle.
She has been dangerous the last couple of times she's touched the ball, as Tamara puts in a big kick here. Tiana Penatani's looking into sun to catch this, but she takes it well, finds some space on the outside and gets that big fend out in the face of Shanice Parker, but Caslick finishes her off.
Yeah, great tackle from Parker. That fend smack in the face. Caslick coming in as well, as Isabel Kelly runs and able to stretch herself just short of the 40. Let's go down to Alana.
Yeah, Maddie, just on Charlotte Caslick, I think she's...
Hang on a second. Sorry, Alana, we'll pause you for just a second. The ball has gone loose. It's very messy. It looks like we're allowed to play on. The referee eventually calling a knock on. He's going to bring it right back. A little opportunity for the Dragons comes to nothing. Just very exciting. Sorry, Alana, back down to you.
That's okay. I think Charlotte Caslick, we'll see the replay here, she's had a really clever first 12 or so minutes in this game. She's had a couple of really tough carries, and I think it's important for Charlotte to really get a feel for rugby league and for the game. And then her defensive reads have been pretty good too. We just saw her put a great shot on. So I expect her to do the same thing just for the rest of this half, and as the game starts to open up, she'll take those opportunities because she's very used to playing eyes up footy and seeing and attacking that space. But for the time being, she's playing a tough brand of footy, and I think it's just working out perfectly.
Well, Alana, there looks to be an injury concern here. Is that Bertilli Vet Welsh with the trainer? Is she hobbling towards the sideline at the moment?
Yeah, she is heading this way. It'll be interesting to see what the Roosters do there, because for me, long term, I think Charlotte Caslick would be the perfect fullback. Maybe it won't have the experience right now, so if...
Well, I think
she's definitely coming off the field. Quincy Dodd is staying on the sideline.
Looks like Jocelyn Kelleher is coming on.
It is, so we might even see, I'm not sure if we'll see her at fullback, or even Corbin McGregor has played a little bit of time at fullback too, so we'll see how they sort that out.
And I've noticed that Charlotte has been playing pretty much in that centre three-quarter position. She hasn't really been playing that traditional 5'8" role.
No, not just yet. I think they're smart. I think they're being really smart with Charlotte, and I think it's really important for her to just get a feel for rugby league, get that little bit of confidence. She has a little bit of space here. We'll just see her strength.
If she's in open space, this is when you want to see her. And you can already see that strength of her run. Talking with the Roosters coaching staff during the week, the assistant coach, John Strange, says he's never seen a female athlete run like her and has taken to the game incredibly quickly. It's kind of that ball forward. It's allowed to play on. No, it isn't called back. It was just overrun by Southwell. That forward pass a little bit sloppy.
Well, it's the right idea. The execution wasn't quite there. They had the Dragons backpedaling through that ruck in the middle. They have been very strong today, the Tricolours, through that middle. But as we see in the Harvey Norman replay, that Nita Maynard is disappointed with herself with that one. She knows she probably should have held on to that and taken the tackle. But now we find ourselves mid-ball, so we'll see what the Dragons can throw. We know they've got a lot of attacking prowess close to the line. I'd like to see how they attack from further out.
Already nearing the halfway mark of the first half of NRLW Game 1 season 2020. It goes quick with these 30-minute periods as the Dragons, now via Parker, pulled down far side, and Bremner will move into acting half. Love to see Bremner with ball in hand. Apps, the first of the female Dally M Players of the Year. Kezzy Apps, a real superstar of the game. Stunning. Albert again, they've been relying on her, and why wouldn't they? Because every time she makes meters after contact.
But Matt, she takes 4 defenders and finds her front and gets a quick play the ball off the back of it, as does Steph Hancock off the back of that run. Teammates with Elsie Albert, so they play together a lot.
2 good runs, puts them in great position. Apps. Still going, Apps. Hands free and play stays alive. Surgis running, strong running, still going Surgis, and is eventually tackled 2 meters shy of the line. Tungai in at acting half. Apps studded. Standing still, the Dragons. Hancock, not sure she was supposed to get it. Bremner gives it back to Hancock, who will have another go. I've done this before, she says, let me keep going. And the ball playing is not necessarily the strong suit because it goes forward.
Well, it was a lovely broken play there through the middle. Sam Bremner pushing up and supporting her forward runners, which is what you want all of your fullbacks doing, finding some space. But can we talk about Elsie Albert a little bit more? How powerful is she? She is causing headaches for the Roosters every single time she carries the ball. And in reverse, they are shooting up and they are shutting down their real strike forwards in Samaima Taufa and Vanessa Foliaki, not giving them any space to move. And this is an intriguing contest.
Well, it's her first game in the NRLW. She used to be a boxer, but her parents said that was too tough a sport, so she switched to rugby league, and now she's brutalising 13 instead of 1. I love it.
It's a little update on Batil Betty Welsh, who we saw leave the field with that injury. Her right hamstring, unfortunately, is looking very dicey, and we won't see her back out there for the Roosters again today.
Another handling error. Samaima Taufa, that's twice she's been given the ball with defenders right on her. Tough assignment, but the result's the same. The Dragons will go at him again as Shaylee Bent moves over the 30-metre line. Bremner. And now it's Fasavalu Falmasili standing and eventually pulled to ground. One of 13 brothers and sisters in the Fasavalu Falmasili family. They could have their own football team. As Albert again. I mean, as soon as she gets it, you can just see the Roosters defenders in front of her. They take a breath. Southwell, she's a great defender, but she goes, here we go again. Started. Shapes to kick, goes herself, the ball goes to ground, and the Roosters will come away.
I tell you what, for that Dragons right edge attack, I'd really like to see them shift that ball early out towards their centres and give them the time and space to create something, because they've got the numbers against that Roosters left edge defence, as we see Sahara Tamara scooting out of dummy half, trying to take a little bit of pressure off her forwards.
Slow play the ball. Means the Dragons' defensive line is set as the Roosters make their way over the 40-metre line. They've played twice before in NRLW. The Roosters and the Dragons as the Roosters are away. Charlotte Caslick in open space. It's a thing of beauty brought down. And we'll get the penalty as well for the high shot.
Well, I know that we're going to celebrate Charlotte Caslick's run out of dummy half, but I would also like to tip my hat to Quincy Dodd, the young woman, straight on the field, straight into the cauldron of battle here in the middle. She did a beautiful run out of dummy half, and that gave a quick play the ball. We saw Charlotte get a great run off the back of it, and now we're starting to see why she's such a valuable signing.
Looks like they'll take the two. Alana, sideline, you've made the jump from...
No, they're going to go the tap.
They take the plate. We'll be back in just a second. Alana, because the Roosters are going to try for their second try. You don't see them regularly take the two. Was surprised that they'd shaped for it. Pleased they're going for the points here on 9 Saturday footy as we kick off a massive day of NRLW and finals rugby league for the nation's capital. Tamara. Now McGregor. Continuing through Parker, inside ball to the Roosters, lose the ball. Charlotte Caslick, she had it, she shaped up, she saw defenders in front of her, but the ball went to ground.
Yeah, it was just a little bit of a hidden pass there, and it bobbled as she hit the deck, but they had to really man up defensively on her because they know how dangerous she is in broken play, and we are seeing her play more in that centre position on the right-hand side, and I think at the moment she's getting some really quality ball out there, and then when there's more tired bodies through the middle, I think we'll see her shift in and create a bit more space for herself in there.
Alana, that was the question, is making that switch from sevens to league. How difficult is it?
Well, it's a different brand of football, but a lot of the similar principles apply, and I think it's perfect for Charlotte Caslick in the position that she's playing in, whether it be centre or 5'8". It's just identifying numbers. Sevens is a numbers game, and when you are on the edge, whether it be in attack or defence, that's what you do. You play eyes up footy and you play numbers. You hit the space or you make those big one-on-one tackles. So I think she's doing a really great job at identifying those different aspects of the game in both attack and defence.
That's Ellie Johnston, huge hit, great hit. Ellie Johnston off the bench, onto her back.
Again, Hannah Southwell down the bottom, Vanessa Foliaki up the top, and now they've numbered up on Elsie Albert. That's the first time we've only seen her make at least 1 metre in her run.
It's amazing to watch, and will continue to be throughout the course of the season. 3 rounds in the grand final on grand final day. You don't have a lot of time to settle into your footy, and Elsie Albert hasn't. The kick from Studden off the side of her boot, but it's allowed to play on. No. It would have been lucky. It was knocked on off the hands of the Dragons. The kick was an accidental one off the side of the boot. The chasers were there, but it was knocked on.
We're having a little bit of a timeout at the moment. It looks like, is that Kezi Apps with the trainer over on the far side? So we'll get Alana to keep an eye on that as well. Maddie Studden, she'll just be wanting her time back with that kick. It just landed sort of on the side and on the ankle joint of the foot, so she couldn't quite get enough purchase behind it. However, it was an off kick, but we saw their outside backs push up and create some opportunities off the back of it, and that's what the Dragons are so dangerous when they do that.
Later on this afternoon, we have another NRLW match here on 9 as the defending premiers, the Brisbane Broncos, take on the Warriors right here at GAO Stadium. You can catch all that action live from 3 p.m. That will be a big hitting fun game as well. But this one is certainly not disappointed through the first 20 minutes inside the final 10 until half-time. Both teams scoring early, and since then it has been a defensive battle up the middle. Elsie Albert not just damaging with ball in hand, strong shoulder as well. Dodd into Apps and is able to make it another 5 or 6 metres after the initial contact, short of the 30, as the Roosters meeting a red and white wall of Ellie Johnston.
I tell you what, that's young Kennedy Cherrington not taking a backward step against the big body of Elsie Alberts, as Hannah Southwell again has another good run through the middle.
They have momentum. McGregor grubbers through off the hands of the Dragons. Was it played up? 6 again it was. Dodd has it and able to settle because we have a fresh set. Shaylee Bent with the tackle tries for the strip as well. Told to let it go and play it. So perfect start to the set. Samaima Taufa, the former captain, one of the most inspirational players in the history of the game, to be honest with you.
Well, we see, again, Kennedy Cherrington going in for more work as Ellie Johnston gets her a little bit high, so it's a slow play the ball through the middle, but Corbin McGregor has been quite dangerous with the ball in hand on the right.
Tamara had the line open, but she couldn't hold on to it, and the ball is knocked on, and the Dragons will get away with this one because the Roosters were looking good.
They certainly were. Tamara finding some space on that outside edge, just couldn't maintain the handle, and it was good cover defence coming through the middle, and it had to be because she was in for all money if that tackle doesn't come over the top by Ellie Johnston.
One of the things that the Roosters have been talking about with Tamara in at number 7, she's not the loudest talker, she's not the biggest mouth at training, and to be wearing the 7 and to be a little bit shy, that is a problem.
Well, you could look at it that way, but I've played with her and I've been on the receiving end of one of her sprays, and let me tell you, when she's out there, when she wants the ball or she wants you to do something, she is not shy, that's for sure. She will tell you.
Does Rowan Sims get intimidated?
No, I didn't say I was intimidated.
Right.
I just said I've been on the receiving end of the spray.
Right. Good to get that clarification. We're standing very near each other, within 1.5 meters, don't worry, but I just want to know where the line is. So it'll be the Dragons who will come out from their own end. The try scorer, Tiana Penatani, with the responsibility of trying the lengthy journey to get down the other end and perhaps take the lead for the first time. They played in the grand final last year, the Dragons, and they were blown off the field by the Broncos as Bremner showing exactly why she's one of the greats. Brilliant footwork and pulled down just short of the halfway line by Samaima Taufa. Not a lot of opportunities for Bremner so far, but when she has had them, gee, she's looked good. She didn't play last year, the birth of her baby boy Reef, but she's back and she's excited to be here.
She certainly is. Off the back of that run, the Dragons find themselves 35 metres out from their own line on the last tackle. I'd love to see an attacking kick and a competitive chase.
Studden. It's a chip kick. She does find the ground as the Roosters are able to pick it up. Yasmin Meeks turns around and is met by Studden, a great kick chaser. So she goes across field and the Dragons keep coming, and eventually Yasmin Meeks is put on her backside by, who was it? Elsie Albert.
What a great kick chase there by the Dragons. They want to try and tighten up through the middle. The Roosters at the moment are finding 7 or 8 metres with every one. They want to try and keep them down to 3.
Parker, who made her debut in round 3 last year. The first touch of the footy was an intercept, nearly ran length of the field. Taufa now gives it to the Roosters, who move over the 40-metre line. Studden, the defender, along with Isabel Kelly. Taufa, juggling. Albert around the bootlaces this time. And it looks like Davis has been hit.
It might have been a bit of a head knock, or she might have copped the shoulder here of Samaima Taufa. She came reeling out of that tackle there. We hope she's all right.
It's either Taufa or it's Albert. Either way, it's not a shoulder you want to run into.
Exactly right.
Replay right here. Yeah, it's a head knock.
It's a head knock.
Taufa running straight in. She was standing in the tackle and it's knocked straight back. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, copped it right on the chin there, Keely, and she went down straight away. We hope she's all right, because that getting hit on the point of the chin like that with a forehead is very, very hard.
Let's go sideline, Alana Ferguson.
Yeah, Samaima Taufa has always been such a brutal runner of the footy, but I've really liked watching her in the middle of the field today. We just see her ball playing game come into play a little bit. She's got a couple of the outside backs and edge back rowers running off her, and it just makes that middle of the field even more dangerous, not knowing whether she's going to pass it or run it herself, where we saw just then.
I tell you what, Alana, what I'm really looking forward to is when Charlotte moves in a little bit tighter and getting her running off Samaima. That, I think, is a really dangerous combination.
Absolutely.
So Davis will come from the field. She looks okay, Keely Davis, the Wollongong local, the Chillaroo. She also was the youngest member of the Dragons' 2018 first up squad, but she comes off the field and she'll be replaced.
And it's a free interchange. It's for a head injury assessment. So she's got 15 minutes from now to prove fitness if she can return to the game.
Tamara with the kick to start the set. It's an awkward bounce for Penatani, who's forced to turn around, and Kasalik gets called back for being offside, and she was given that call at the last moment, so Penatani had free rein for another couple of minutes. Surges makes it over the halfway line. Quick play the ball as well, and now Kelly. Been so much excitement about the idea of Surges and Kelly playing together, and this is it. It's happening, and geez, it's exciting for Dragons fans.
Oh, there is a lot of danger down both edges, and that's why I want to see them get the ball early. That shift. Here we go. Kezzy Apps on the edge.
Has open space. She had support outside her, decided to go herself. Standing in the tackle eventually. Wrestled to the ground. Over the 20-metre line, Zahara Tamara with the tackle. Studden brothering through to Parker, who's in the right place at the right time and turns around and makes it back to the 10. Is that the kick you would have expected, Ruwan?
Yes, and I think that was well diffused there by Shanice Parker. I would have liked a kick from Maddie, as we see Charlotte again finding space through the middle. This is why she's dangerous. And I think Maddie probably would have wanted that kick to go a little bit deeper, so that gave her defensive line more time to get there.
Another rugby convert, Yasmin Meeks. Short of the 40. Short side, Tamara. Able to get through the tackle of Tungai on the halfway line, and a penalty for the Roosters. Slow play the ball, and they'll have another opportunity here.
Yeah, that's a fair penalty. I thought he might have actually called for flopping, because the tackle was already completed as the second body came in on top there. I think it was Christine Pauly came in over the top, and they were slow getting up. So again, a penalty finds the Roosters 25 metres out with the ball in hand and strike power to burn.
The Roosters franchise coming off the back of their Harvey Norman Women's State Premiership Grand Final victory, so there is excitement and momentum around the Roosters franchise, and plenty of the players involved in that one playing here today. Wanting to continue that success, the Sydney Roosters NRLW side, as we take another stop. I think the player is down. Look at where that is. The trainer runs onto the field. No one's on the ground at the moment, Brian. Now they are.
No, there we go. I can't see who that is from this angle. Oh, it's Kezi Apps. She's down at the moment. So it was an early call by the referee as well. So the trainer got into him quickly with that. And the Roosters will just have to cool their jets a little bit now. Give themselves some time to just bring themselves together, have a think, settle down, take a few deep breaths. But guess who's standing at first receiver on this right side? We're about to see a replay here.
Yeah,
another head knock, is that?
Head to head this time. It was the head of Togatuki going into the head of Kezi Apps, so she's being tended to. There were seven rounds of the New South Wales
No, she's got
Cup,
the thumbs up though, Matt. She's going to stay on.
which is sensational news. The Roosters with Kasalik able to get the ball to Phillips, and Phillips standing in the tackle, plays it quickly, and the Roosters just short. Dodd wanted to do what Maynard did earlier in the half. Talfa at acting half. Now Tamara. Inside the Roosters, hit hard. Kezi Apps needed to make the tackle. Steph Hancock flattening her as the Roosters go again, and they won't stop them this time. They are in again, the Tricolours.
Well, we do have the bunker now in the NRLW, so the referee looks like he's going to refer to that. Let's listen in.
Checking for obstruction on the marker. So it's Quincy Dodd, who is the player we're going to be looking at. So she picks up the footy, dives straight up, looks okay.
Well, Sala Tongatuki is playing the ball, so she can't go anywhere. And it's the marker's decision to jump out to that right side. And it looks like we're looking at the put down here. Well done, young lady.
There is no obstruction from the Roosters, and Quincy Dodd grounds the ball in the in-goal. We have a decision.
It will be the green light for the Sydney Roosters. Their second try in similar fashion is confirmed. Quincy Dodd with the try alongside the uprights. So the two tries for the Roosters from the hooker alongside the uprights.
And we're seeing the Dragons middle just getting pulled apart here on the Harvey Norman replay. Sala Tongatuki, as I spoke about, did a beautiful run up through the middle, played the ball nice and quickly, and Quincy Dodd had the nous to look up and notice that the marker had jumped out to the right-hand side and gave her space on her right to get down low and go, 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 as I like to say.
She's only 60 kilograms, 168 centimetres, Quincy Dodd, but she's played in the Women's Prime Minister's 13, the New South Wales City side. She might not be the biggest player out there, but she's one of the toughest.
She certainly is, and she started off out in the 5'8" role and number 7, but she's moved into hooker, and I quite like her in that position.
Tamara with another easy assignment, successful. The Roosters 12-4.
Hey, Fergo, do you want to keep an eye on Maddie? It looked like she was getting some strapping on an ankle, left ankle.
The Dragons will get us underway once more. The Roosters, 2 tries through the centre of the field. Plenty to discuss in a couple of minutes at half-time as Kaslik is forced to turn around and chase the footy with an awkward bounce and stop it going dead. She runs into Steph Hancock. The newest player in NRLW runs into one of the most experienced. Taufa can only make 1 or 2 metres. Just over 2 minutes until half-time. Warm here in Canberra, so the fitness of both these sides is going to be tested because it's all good and well to have a couple of weeks of training in pre-season, which was reduced anyway as the try scorer Dodd goes over the 20-metre line, but conditioning hasn't been something they've been able to do a lot of because of Corona.
No, well, they have also come off the back of their state league competition, so they do have some match fitness under their belt. But for the Dragons, their starting front row is still on the field as Tamara's trying to kick out of trouble. That's a charge down. It should be 6 again.
It will be 6 more. And so the Roosters will hold on to it nearing half-time, unlike in the Panthers-Roosters game last night, which played towards the end of the game wasn't a charge down. This time she made an actual play at the footy, which is why this one was deemed a charge down. So the Roosters with a 6 again as Meeks is met hard by LCL, but she's been the story of the first half for mine.
Oh, phenomenal, phenomenal.
It's going to be the story of the season as well, as Tamara gives it to Taufa, and Samina Taufa is tackled. Quincy Dodd behind her. 3 Roosters defenders. Hancock and Bent has to get herself out of the way because she was in no man's land. Over the halfway line, last tackle, the Sydney Roosters. And it'll be Kaslik who puts the boot to ball and finds space and chases after it. Bremner picks it up, but my goodness, that is a superb chase by Corbin McGregor.
Take a bow, Corbin McGregor. That is a beautiful chase. And guess who was with her? Hannah Southwell. Another big tackle by Southwell and McGregor. This is wonderful from the Roosters. They want to keep them down here in the last 40 seconds of the game. You
can hear how vocal they are, both the Roosters on the field and the Roosters fans in the stands. We're only 30 seconds from half-time, but you'd think they were just starting. They are determined in season 2020, the Sydney Roosters. Bent runs forward and is met by Kennedy Cherrington. Last tackle have only made a handful of metres, the Dragons. The defensive enthusiasm from the Roosters amazing. A very awkward kick from Studden. It's picked up by Kelly, and I think that'll be a turnover. It all has gone
they've got 5 seconds.
Wrong.
Well, they set the scrum.
Horribly wrong. Studden with that ankle strapped. They won't have time to set the scrum, as it is the Roosters at halftime leading the Dragons 12 points to 4. Perfect conditions here in the nation's capital for the first game of NRLW, the first time we have been here in Canberra for this competition, and it's going to be the Dragons and Keely Davis with the kickoff. Suffered that head knock in the first half for one. Clearly she has recovered and is okay.
It's good to see her back out there and being able to take her position. Having her guidance through the middle will help the Dragons pack.
So Tamara with an awkward one, but able to hold on to it. She had a little bit of trouble with her hands in the first half to get us underway for the second 30. Can the Roosters get their 2020 campaign underway with a winning start, something they weren't able to do last year? Quincy Dodd in the 14 try scorer in the back end of the first half will start in hooker. Southwell plays it, and that is Dodd going herself after shaping the pass, almost able to get through the tackle of Kezi Apps. Albert over the top. Pass looked questionable. It's allowed to play on. Cherrington is tackled on the 40. They want a penalty. It's not coming. Sloppy play the ball as the 2-15s, Cherrington and Paulie go toe-to-toe as the Roosters go down the right side, and it's going to be brought down, and she's going to be tackled, and that will be that. They opted to keep the ball in hand, Rowan. It didn't bring any joy.
No, again, the right idea. Execution was just a little bit off there for the Roosters down that short side. Again, though, getting the ball early into Kaslik's hands is dangerous for the Dragons.
Shaylee Bent, number 12 for the Dragons, one of the rising stars of the Red V. Now Cherrington, who's hit hard by Southwell. We told you she was probably the best defender in the Roosters, and that's an example why. Albert into Taufa. It takes Taufa and Cherrington to bring her down short of the 40. Studded that strapped ankle. Apps, who's also hit by Southwell. 2 tackles from Hannah Southwell, and both driving the Dragons players into the ground. Tungai, kick over the top, Studden chasing through. Apps able to get it. Superb hands by Kezzy Apps, but it comes to nothing. She went to ground as she caught it, but nice play.
I think that was Jess Surgis shooting down that edge. It was a beautiful kick there by Shaq Tungai, and Jess competing again for every single play that she gets the opportunity. Just got tackled with the ball at the last minute. Good cover defence there by Shanice Parker.
Like the kick from Tungai. See a lot of attacking kicks from the Dragons for the first 30, as they'll get the helping penalty as well.
Well, you did hear the referee calling Elsie Albert out there to try and tell her to stay out of the line because she was in front of him at the play the ball, and the Roosters, they get the penalty off the back of it. They'll find themselves closer to their good ball.
Short of the 40 is where the Roosters will start their next set. It's Phillips who gets it underway, and whoa! Elsie Albert came charging forward, and like dominoes, they both went down.
I have no words. I have no words.
Huge contact, and Albert straight back to her feet and then drifts to the left, and she wants to go again. This time the Roosters pass it further to the right, and you can understand why. Hasslick in an active half. Taufa gets away from the Hancock tackle, still going Taufa. Hancock has a second attempt, and this time does bring it to ground. Tamara drifting, still going, this time Parker coming for a run on the last tackle. Just over 10 metres. The Dragons line. Tamara back inside, rubbers it, and it's picked up by Bremner, who is able to use her experience to get away from 2 Roosters defenders and get back into the field of play.
Well, that was a great kick by Zahara Tamara and good defence by the Roosters. And Sam Bremner to be able to bring that out of trouble. We see an injury here. It looks like Jess Surgis.
Surgis didn't get up from the tackle. Looks like an ankle. She's got that knee strapped. Takes a look at the replay. Slips as she makes contact, and then her right leg and ankle just get caught awkwardly under the tackle.
Well, she's receiving some treatment out there from the trainer as we watch it on replay again. But I've noticed in this second half already, Coach Jamie Feeney's pulled the trigger on that positional change. He's moved Charlotte Caslick closer in, and Corbin McGregor has taken her position out in the centres where she was named to start the game. But I like those two being able to interchange between those positions because it adds a little bit of variety and keeps the defence guessing.
Alana.
I love seeing Charlotte Caslick creeping in the middle too, Roo. Too good. Jess Surgis, I just wanted to make a quick comment on her. She's such a great runner of the footy out wide in space, and I don't think we've seen her with enough of that football. So given that she's such a huge strike weapon on the edges, she's been doing a lot of their tough carries and trying to start their sets off, which she's been doing really well. But I'd love to see Jess Surgis, if she gets up and running, which it looks like here, just get a little bit of that early ball and be able to take the defence on, which she does so well.
Yeah, the 2019 Dally M Female Player of the Year, Ikuji Randwick Jr. She's just become one of the faces of the game, but this is not what you like to see. Quincy Dodd coming over the top, and she just slipped, and both the knee that's already strapped and the ankle landing awkwardly under the tackle. Her boyfriend, Zach Lomax, is in the stands watching on.
She's a tough cookie, Jess. She'll shake it off if she can, and she'll take a position to play the ball here. Try and get a bit of movement through that ankle, soften up the strapping, and work her way back into the game.
Chapman moves into acting half and gets this set underway, which lost all its momentum, and the Roosters reset. So the third tackle, centre of the field, Elsie Albert will have a run. And Hannah South will take a bow because you have been dominant in defence. Johnston moves over the 20-metre line, was able to get the pass away, Albert, but looking strong as she goes again for a run. 3 Roosters defenders bring it down. Samaima Taufa over the top. Hancock. Steph Hancock with the torpedo. That is a monster. Was inside the 40. It could roll dead. It's picked up by the Roosters, and Parker has to do plenty of work. Gets away from one. Still going across field. Parker, she gets back into the field of play. Superb run. Superb run from Bridie Parker. She looked for all money to be trapped in goal. As the Roosters now come out of their own end, there's a Dragons player down in the in-goal area, and the Roosters have some open space, and they're away via Parker. Bremner tackle short of the 40. The Roosters moving well. The Dragons defensive line struggling to get back, and they will appreciate the clock stopping because the Roosters were rolling, and we're going to go back because there is a player down in back play.
I think it's Shakaya Tongai is down in back play with the trainer at the moment, holding a right shoulder or getting treatment on a right shoulder. But can we just quickly go back to that play? The kick by Steph Hancock, she wasn't supposed to get the ball.
Does she do that normally?
She used to play as a 5'8" and a centre, so she does have the skills to be able to pull it off, and I think Joey would agree she can keep her kicking licence. I think that was a wonderful kick and a good chase, but even better work by Bridie Parker as we see the kick here on replay.
It was a monster.
It was a beautiful kick, and the chase here by the Dragons was really great, but take a bow, Bridie Parker, because this was a gallant effort. She thought it was going to go dead, sprinted 25, 30 metres sideways and made her way into the field of play.
Do you have question marks about the Dragons' chase there?
Well, I think she skirted around them and they got caught out on the edges. So they'll want to tighten that up, ensure that they present one line and no gaps so that they can't do that again. But it was a brave effort.
Coming up tonight, we kick off another night of finals with the Raiders and the Sharks facing off here in Canberra. Following that match, we go north. It is the Storm and the Eels at Suncorp Stadium. All that action live from 5 p.m. right here on 9. So we reset. It's the third tackle. Parker will play the ball. Quincy Dodd standing behind all is in readiness. Tungai's come from the field. So we resume after a lengthy break. Plenty of injuries forcing stoppages through the first 40 minutes of the game. It's a good play the ball. And Dodd, because it's Taufa who was hit by Johnston and put on a back. Pat on the back from Studden. Charrington to Dodd. Dodd is through. Pulled down by Apps, tried to get the pass away to Hancock. That wasn't a wise play because Hancock using some experience calling for it, but she's plays for the other team, and Dodd is unfortunately brought to an end as that's another big hit. Bridie Parker having a big start to the second half. Bremner finding meters. The number 1 returning to the NRLW.
Yeah, Jocelyn, Samaima side.
Phillips slow to roll away. There's Apps. First receiver takes it into Roosters territory. Good play the ball, able to get to her feet quickly and Studden kicks and will find open space because the Roosters wingers were up. And so once again, the Roosters will come out from their own end. Yasmin Meeks straight into Kezi Apps, and Apps up for the challenge and brings Meeks down in a one-on-one tackle.
She's a lovely mover on her feet, Yasmin Meeks, as we see the Roosters continue to pepper this right edge defence as we see Steph Hancock is caught out on this edge there, so the middle is going to be shorter number.
Tamara has support with her by Taufa. Wants to go herself. There's the Roosters again finding it reasonably easy to make meters up the middle in this second half. Johnston, a good tackle now. Zahara Tamara grubbers the kick towards the sideline and will roll into touch. They'll take a breather because it's a fast start to the second 40 in warm conditions in Canberra, Ruan.
I think both teams will appreciate this little breather that they get because I agree with you, it is very, very hot down there. We've seen so far the Roosters are really stretching the Dragons' defensive line and testing their edges, just trying to see where the gaps are opening up. And through the middle so far, the first half is where they found all their joy. And then now the second half. So we've got Kezi Apps is with the trainer. You just heard the whistle there. It looks like she will be coming from the field, and that is a big blow for the Dragons because she is one of the 2 captains in the team. She's coming off with a HIA, it appears, Matt.
Plenty of experience. Kezi Apps, the inaugural Dally M Female Player of the Year in 2016. The Jillaroo since 2014, New South Wales origin since 2014 as well. And she's going to be replaced by Talay Holmes in the 16 jersey. And it looks like Kezi coming from the field. Alana.
Talay Holmes, who headed on, is a great substitute for Kezi, though. She's a really tough footy player, but I think they're also hesitant to bring Jess Surgisoff, who's quite obviously to me down here on the sideline still carrying that right ankle injury. I heard the trainer say, "You're okay, Jess, you're okay, keep going." So they're obviously hesitant. They know that they probably don't have momentum and they need every possible strike weapon out there on the field at the moment.
Studden, Johnston turns and straightens and is tackled on the halfway line, centre of the field. Studden, bent. Takes two Roosters to bring her down. Had Kelly outside her, but couldn't get the hands free. Albert turns and straightens. It looks like Albert and Southwell are having a little battle, a mini battle amongst themselves. Southwell, the much smaller defender, but every time Albert has the ball, Southwell greets her with the shoulder. Kick is high from Studden. Chase is good one from the Dragons. The Roosters will start their set. Shanice Parker up to the challenge, just short of the 20-metre line as they find meters through the middle. Johnston desperately trying to bring her down. Holmes has just come onto the field as well, also tackling, and eventually Meeks is brought down.
She's so strong in contact, Yasmin Meeks. She's got a wonderful running style. As we see the Roosters just rolling up through the middle, they are getting through their sets. They want to get a really good attacking kick off the back of it and put a lot of defensive pressure on.
Castley, eyes up footy. It's what Rugby Sevens is all about. You can see as soon as she gets the ball, she looks up, and coaches say she just has a superb read of the game. She's just a natural footy player, as Zahara Tamara with the kick, and it's a narrow corridor, and she's able to find ground, turning Bremner around. He gets it and begins the journey back towards the Roosters defenders and finding a bit of space, Bremner. A little bit of space still, and eventually brought down by Parker. Looked dangerous for a second. Surgis with her first run since getting that ankle strap. Looked okay. And Atani already scored one try. The only try for the Dragons. Hancock. Hands free. Davis, second phase play, unable to do anything with it. A solid set from the Dragons. Two tackles remain. Johnston keeping it basic. One out, one up, and Johnston takes it over the 40, 35 out from the Roosters line. Last tackle short side. Studden with the grubber through. And Parker's right there to pick it up. Weighs up her options and is eventually brought down by Kelly.
With that loss of Bertilli Vet-Welsh early on, Shanice Parker has done a really great job in that fullback position. Finding just her positioning itself is actually wonderful. She's getting to the ball early, she's attacking the ball, and she's finding the ground quickly.
Hancock has had to do plenty of defending in the second half. Now has a chance with the ball. Does well across field before getting the ball to Phillips, who's brought down, and we're continuing. Great tackle. Parker, that was superb, and forced the error as well.
Well, Jamie Chapman take a bow on her teammate, Kennedy Charrington, just coming up with the right tackle at the right time. And this was big contact from the winger on a forward. Forces the penalty, and now the Dragons find themselves in a really good attacking position, nice and early with fresh bodies out on the field.
Alana, what do the Dragons need to do from here to score, to get across the line?
Well, I think they just need to threaten that defensive line a little bit more. There's a couple of players out there that really stand out to me that are the people to do it. Mahalia Murphy, who's come on for Shaq. She's playing in at 5'8" and jersey number 17. She is such an incredible footy player and really dangerous taking on the line. She's got the footy in her hands right now. So I'd love to see her do plenty with the footy. And Sammy Bremner, whether it be popping up in and around the forwards or out the back, she can also cause a lot of damage to that defensive line.
Kelly, short side. The Roosters defenders were backtracking and makes the most of it. Gets the pass away, keeps the play alive. Penatani, Studden, Bent. Still going Bent, still going Bent. Able to easily get around and navigate the tackle of Zahara Tamara. Just shy of the 10-metre line, centre of the field. Hancock, straight and hard, doing what she does best. Still going Hancock, still going, has the hands free. That knocked down by the Roosters. Albert lands on it and 6 more tackles. Albert still going, Albert still going. Tackled 1 metre shy of the line, then Johnston dives on it. And it's going to be a penalty. So no try, but a penalty for the Dragons, and the pressure will continue, Ruan.
Well, Ellie Johnston looked very disappointed that the referee called that a no try, as we see him stopping play at the moment. There is a Roosters player down in back play. Alana spoke about what the Dragons need to do. They need to threaten the line, and at the moment, they're just winning that ruck speed. And here we see Ellie Johnston. There might have been a knock on. That's why the referee called it up. But Elsie Albert close to the line, that's a disturbing sight if you're defending, isn't it?
She has run hard all game. A reminder, only 30-minute halves in NRLW, not 40. So 16 minutes remaining.
And that's Vanessa Foliaki down on the ground there, Matt. We noticed earlier she did pick up a rib injury. Alana, did you get anything at half-time on what her little niggle was?
No, we didn't hear anything from down here, Roo. Just a big hit, I think she copped, but she seemed to be fine. She ran it out in the first half.
She's a tough girl, Vanessa Foliaki. At training, regularly gets told to ease off. She has 2 speeds, 0 and 100%. You can see there, she just gets hit. It was an awkward one as Johnston dived for the line and she got hit, rolled away and stayed down.
Tell you what, though, I do feel for Ellie Johnston because I think that was a try. So he called for a penalty in the ruck, but she scored it. So would you play advantage? Does she drop it? Does she knock it on? I can't see with the...
Well, at least go upstairs. They do have the capacity to go to the video ref in NRLW, but they're quick to call it. Liam Kennedy, the referee, no bones about the fact he thought it was a penalty straight away. So the Dragons will set themselves up to the left of the upright, started organising her troops, and it's Albert who'll have the first hit up, and she'll go hard and straight. Hanesi, the tackler, amongst 3 Roosters that it took. As we still go Surgis. Short of the line, Tamara standing in the tackle, eventually brought down. She's struggling, Jess Surgis, again, slow to her feet. She's doing everything. You can see she's favouring that right ankle, staying out there. Surgis, incredible courage, but she's not her best. Hancock again. Haslick tackling, and then Anisi comes in and cuts her in half. The Dragons looking for their second try, and the try that can get them back in this game. Short side, Studden, Kelly, quick go, quick hands, and the pass goes to ground. She had Penatani outside her, but the communication wasn't there. The idea may be right, Ruan.
Oh, that was an opportunity lost there. That sideline was a 2-on-1. It was open for all money, and it looks like Penatani just came back against the grain. It was a lovely tip on there by Bremner. Oh, they'll be ruining that opportunity. But they created a couple of good ones in that set of 6, and the injury to Surgis, she's staying out there at the moment, which is really surprising because, as you spoke about, Matt, she couldn't get up from that last ruck. She couldn't get back on side.
Shows the importance of Jess Surgis in this side. The number of their signings, plenty of attacking weapons. That's what we talked about with the Dragons prior to the game starting, but only the 1 try. 12 points to 4, 15 minutes remain in this NRLW opener from GIO Stadium, Canberra, as Kaslik goes back inside, and now some open space for the Roosters as Parker is tackled on the 30. She's quick in open space, Shanice Parker. Short side, Kaslik again goes herself and is met by Jess Surgis. Kaslik and Surgis. That is a battle I've been looking forward to, and Didn't disappoint there.
What ankle?
Kasalik is strong, and Surges said, do not get past me today. Tamara. Side 2. Number 10, Philomena Hanisi. Slow play of the ball. The Dragons defenders set. Southwell has an arm free. Parker coming through, but didn't pass it. Messy play of the ball. It was Johnston who got a foot to it. Allowed to play on as the kick goes down to Penatani. She takes it comfortably and turns. And still going Penatani. Still going Penatani. Eventually it is Dodd who brings it to ground. Bent meets Southwell. So good to watch. Kelly takes it over the 40. Quick play the ball. Davis wasn't there immediately. Studded. Now it goes short side as Zahara Tamara meets with the shoulder. Talay Holmes. Now Elsie Albert. Lumbering forward. Well, down by Hanisi. Last tackle. Studden. The chasers were coming through. Was able to get the kick away, and Shanice Parker will pick it up in the short side corner of the field. And some fancy footwork, and another Dragon will go down. This time it's Jamie Chapman who's reaching for her ankle after the collision. So Dragons are going down everywhere. It's going to be a battle of attrition for the Red V. If they're to be able to get into this one, play continues whilst the trainers work on Chapman.
Looks like it might be a cramp in the calf there for Jamie Chapman as the Roosters continue to force their advantage through the middle, finding some really good metres.
Nearing the final 10, the Roosters. We're going to make the perfect start. Nita Maynard able to get the ball away. And now the Roosters in open space. It's Chapman brought down. Cherrington brought down on the 20. Nita Maynard back on the field and immediately creating options. She wanted the penalty. 6 again. Doesn't come, but the results the same. So this now the first as the Roosters. They've spent a lot of this half defending, and they've been defending well. Now they have a chance to attack. As that ball comes loose, and the opportunity will be lost. Anisi protests. He said there was a hand in it, but it's called a knock-on.
Well, they do have the opportunity to use a captain's challenge, and are they going to pull the trigger? Yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
This is a challenging decision on the field of a knock-on.
As soon as she got up, she threw her hands up in protest.
Well, there is a hand on the ball there.
It's Shaylee Bent over the top. The hand does look like it's in there.
This could be successful, Matt. First ever captain's challenge in NRLW history.
Corbin McGregor.
Shaylee Bent from the Dragons, in making the tackle, places a hand on the ball and intentionally strips the ball from the Roosters player. The challenge by the Roosters is successful.
I love that. The Roosters, Corbin McGregor, the captain, with the first challenge in NRLW history, and it's successful. And the question, Ruan, will they go for 2 or go for points?
I think they'll take the 2 points here because it'll put them ahead by 10, which is really important because the Dragons, as it is, they need to score twice, the Dragons. But now this might be a bridge too far.
They are indeed going for the 2. Zahara Tamara has had 2 conversions already, both of them from right in front, and her third will be from an equally simple position. 14 points to 4. Ruan, the Dragons came into this game favourites, but the Roosters, who, as we've touched on, they've struggled with being able to bring a side full of stars together as a team under new coach Jamie Feeney. This time, it looks like they're going to come away with the W in the first week.
Well, there's still 11 minutes to go, and we do know the strike power that's in the Red V, but at the moment, the Roosters are just owning the middle. Hannah Southwell is doing a great job on Elsie Alberts. We've spoken about how strong Elsie is as a ball runner, and Hannah Southwell has taken it personal, and she's just put herself in front of her every single time as Zahara Tamara lines up to add the extra 2 points for the Tricolours.
Penalty is successful, 14 points to 4. So 10 points. Now the margin, the deficit for the St George Illawarra Dragons.
Stay inside.
Only the one try to Tiana Penatani. That was early in the first half. Since then, they've had plenty of opportunities, but injuries has been something that they've had to deal with as the Roosters will bring it out from their own end again as they set up, and
Hands away now.
she's met by Elsie Albert.
Now wait.
Alana.
Just a quick update on Kezzy App. She left the field and actually failed her HIA. She had a few head knocks during the game, actually, but that last one was taken, and unfortunately we can see Kezzy there. She won't make it back on the field. But another really obvious thing that's standing out to me down here on the ground level is Jess Surgis and that ankle injury that she's carrying. She has made a tackle, but she was basically, the footy came straight to her. I still think if there's a little bit of footwork applied.
They're away, the Roosters. Brenda needs to make the tackle and does.
Any footwork applied, I'd be absolutely peppering that left edge.
Togatuki was moving at pace, but Bremner up to the task. The Roosters continuing. Kaslik goes herself and able to get the pass away. Now Tamara, Parker, Corbin McGregor. McGregor will score. The captain for the Roosters goes over. And that could be the exclamation mark on this one for the Tricolours. They go in again.
Well, I would agree with you there, Matt, as we see here on the Harvey Norman replay, some beautiful ball playing by Zahara Tamara. Drops Salatonga Tahukia under and creates that space, gets a good quick play, the ball off the back of it. And what you want to do when you break down one side, you need to do a long shift. You need to attack the opposite side of the field because the defensive line has compressed to try and shut down that ball runner, and the space is out wide. And Corbin McGregor, she does not make any mistakes when she gets herself into that opportunities.
The captain for the Roosters, the Auckland-born 26-year-old who has played in the 2017 Gillaroos World Cup winning team in New South Wales for the past 4 years. As Ruan says, makes no mistake. Alana.
I love the direct game that the Roosters are playing at the moment. They're really taking that line on, and I think that's something that the Dragons have been lacking, but they're constantly thinking the Roosters run first. We saw that from Charlotte Kaslik. She had a crack herself, footy in her hands right here. She thought run first, the offload opportunity popped up, Zahara Tamara was there, and then just great ball work, and the perfect person on the end of it, Corbin McGregor, to finish that one off.
She's a sprint coach, is Corbin McGregor, knows how to find speed and has plenty of it to burn. This now comfortably the most difficult assignment for Zahara Tamara, the first three right in front. That's the angle. She takes her time with it. The strike is unsuccessful. The score remained the Roosters dominant here in Canberra. The first time these two teams met in NRLW, it was in 2018. The Roosters ran away 26-0 winners at Allianz Stadium. You were part of that game, Ruan. You've come your best, showing all the impartiality of a commentator.
However, I did tip the Dragons for today, so my tipping has gone out the window already, and it's only game one.
Well, what surprised you? What's blown you away? Because the scoreline is now starting to get away from the Dragons, but it will be a reflection of the dominance of the Roosters. What surprised you?
I think it surprised me that their middle got pulled apart because they're such a strong middle. I wasn't surprised with how hard they've been running, but the Roosters have just played a very good structured play and been turning players under and offloading, which causes trouble.
Hands away now. Marcus square. Hold. Go one.
Simona Taufa,
Let go now.
the former captain.
Wait. Hold. Go two.
Now Maynard. Pulled to the ground, ripped to the ground, as a matter of fact. They're still showing as much life as they can. Taylor Holmes and Steph Hancock, big minutes from the veteran. It's the first season with the Dragons. Hancock, Southwell. Gee, she's been good. Just an all-round athlete. She's tried a hand at league, union, AFL, football, cricket. She's found her game in rugby league. That shoulder is superb as short side, and the Roosters are away again. They're away again as Chapman with a diving tackle. It's unsuccessful, but it was dramatic, and that'll be the 5th and last.
Well, the tackle was missed, but it was what strength by Bridie Parker to stay in. She could have very easily been taken over the sideline there, but the Dragons now on their own 20 will work their way out through Jamie Chapman.
So after making the attempted tackle, Chapman with the hit up. They're just walking the Dragons. All the momentum is with the Roosters. Injuries have gone against them. They've regularly found stoppages of play because some of their biggest names have been injured. Isabel Kelly, their key signing, still going, has that knee strapped up. And now Surgis on the other side of the field, giving everything she can every time she gets up. She limps. Christina Pauly, a sister of former NRL player Pauly. Started. Hancock. She's been one of their best, Hancock, hasn't she, Luan?
She's been very strong, as you said, has played big minutes through the middle here and even came up with a ripping kick. So it's good to see her back out there.
Started. Finds ground this time, forces Parker to turn around, rolls into the in-goal area, but the chase is slower than you would have liked because Parker had time to pick up, turn around and make it back into the field of play before the defensive line got there. Later this afternoon as well, we have another NRLW match here on 9. The defending premiers, the Brisbane Broncos, take on the Warriors here at GIO Stadium. All that action live from 3 p.m. right here in Canberra. Looking forward to that game as well, Ru.
I certainly am. And sorry, I'm just a bit...
Taufa.
Shanice Parker reeled out of that last tackle and she's been moved to fullback there. She's struggling to run back on side behind the play the ball. Hopefully that's something that she can just run off.
Release, last tackle.
It'll be one of the stories of this game. The number of players who will walk away battered and bruised. NRLW is back and they do not hold back as the chip over the top. But the Roosters are chasing through. The bounce is unkind. Play on, ball stays in. The Roosters trying a little bit of fancy football and they can afford to do it because they have the margin. The conditions are sound and the Dragons unhappy with it, but they'll end up with the footy. Bremner out of dummy. Very quickly brought down. Zahara Tamara and Yasmin Meeks with the tackle. Kelly out of dummy half and is put on her back.
Marcus square.
They make their way into Roosters territory. Christine Pauly. Surgis again. Taking the pass by Mahalia Murphy, who's on the field. In that 17, taking a ball-playing role, Murphy, former rugby player over in rugby league now, as Studden puts it on the boot, and another great take by Meeks, and Meeks is then able to assess and step away and make a couple more metres. It was an awkward kick, but she made it look comfortable, Meeks.
She certainly did, and again, that little shimmy shake just before the line sits the defenders back on the heels, and they can't put a decent hit on her, which means she gets a quick play the ball, and we see them make 10 metres off the next run.
Just the 3 minutes remain in this one. 30-minute halves in NRLW. And the conclusion of this game, we're going to take you straight to the Suncorp Super Netball. For that major semi-final in the netball, that's going to be a big game, a lot of fun as well. And then we return here to GIO Stadium as the NRLW doubleheader continues. Big afternoon of sport here on the wide world of sports. And we love that you're joining us for this week 1 of NRLW, running right through to the grand final. And the Roosters with a superb showing. 2 minutes 40 remain. Haslick kicks over the top. McGregor chasing, and it's Kelly who gets the bounce. McGregor was coming through at speed. A set play, and now Kelly in open space. Still going Kelly. The first time she's had the opportunity to show her strike power. A sign of the game, considering Kelly with all her class has been as quiet as she has with the ball. Started. Get away from the tackle of Parker. Player Studden, but has had that ankle strapped as the ball goes to Green. It's just not fired for the Dragons here in Canberra this afternoon.
Now, Ntale Holmes, she'll be disappointed with that one. She found herself with a bit of space and had a little bit of a look before she caught the ball, and it travelled away from her, unfortunately, there. Now, the Roosters are going to start their season off with a pretty convincing win over a side that is star-studded. And I know that we've had a lot of injuries in both sides here, but the Dragons in particular have been on the receiving end of some pretty devastating injuries, players who haven't been able to come back onto the field. But I really enjoy what the Roosters have done this afternoon. I found after the first few minutes, they really tightened up their middle, started getting a few more players in the tackle and really controlling that ruck speed, and that's when the tide of the game turned in their favour.
McGregor off the base of the scrum. It's a set play, and it's looking good if she can get the bounce. Oh, she can't hold on to it, Parker. It was a set play. There was no one back for the Dragons. Parker led the chase, but she didn't get the bounce.
Just wait. Go,
spectacular. This is what you can do when you're either up or down by 14. You can throw caution to the wind as Mahalia Murphy with a strong run. Takes 3 Roosters players to bring her down. Still going, Murphy. There is life in the Dragons despite just 40 seconds remaining. Kenatani, the only try scorer for St George Illawarra early in the first half. Since then, it's been a dry spell for the Dragons. Starting. 3 Roosters defenders, and they stand in the tackle on the 40-metre line. Southwell, superb defender all afternoon. Straight at it. Dummy half. Sparsevalu, Falma Sealy trying to find space. And then to play the ball, it's a reasonably quick one. Studding, chips over the top for herself. Lead the chase. If she can get the bounce, she can't. And Parker will pick it up as the clock winds towards 0. You can hear the cheers from the Roosters faithful who have made their way down. It will be a big victory for the Roosters to kick off the NRLW campaign. 18 points to 4. Don't go anywhere, because coming up it is the Suncorp Super Netball semi-final right here on Nine's Wide World of Sports.